Well, I basically wanted to play saxophone for my entire life. I remember when I was a kid, maybe around 7 or 8 years old, we had a CD-ROM encyclopedia. And somewhere in the encyclopedia, there were recordings of all the different instruments. And I remember hearing the saxophone and thinking, I want to do that. I always really loved it. I feel like it took until I was 13 or 14 years old before I really got serious about putting in the time to learn how to play it. And just the feeling of the instrument in my hands, the way it feels to play it, and the way it felt to show people what I was learning and what I was working on the instrument, the way I was able to connect to people with the saxophone has always been really exciting to me. I think that the reason that saxophone is so unique for me and such an exciting instrument is because, unlike a lot of instruments, I think in the beginning it's pretty easy to make a sound on it, to get some kind of tone and to start to move around the instrument. And because of that, there's a lot of time to spend trying to find your own approach to the instrument, your own sort of style of playing, your own nuances to the way that you're going to present yourself on the instrument. And because of that, it has this very vocal quality. It's almost like a voice in that you can manipulate it a lot from an early stage and really explore the way you're going to use sound and tone and texture in addition to just note choice in order to make the sound the way it is. And I think for that reason, although I play other woodwinds, saxophone has always been the one that I sort of gravitate to the most because of that powerful emotive quality and the ease of entry into that world of interpretation that you can find with a saxophone. Choosing baritone saxophone as opposed to other saxophones, I think has had a really big influence on the way I approach sound. The baritone, I think, is the closest to a sort of male vocal range, and because of that, I always feel like it's pretty easy to try to gain that vocal quality to it. In addition to that, because it's so low, it can jump down and sort of be the underpinning. So it's really easy to go back and forth between being sort of the singer and the band. In addition to that, the sound of it, I think, in conjunction with the size, really demands a certain attention. It has a certain visceral quality that really connects with audiences, I think. And those things together make the baritone saxophone a really strong, I think, solo instrument and also support instrument. And playing with that back and forth between solo and support is a big part of what I'm doing with the music I write for solo performance. In terms of influential baritone saxophonists for me, I'd say there's two big ones, lots of other ones, but the two biggest ones are Leo Parker, who to me is just a saxophonist with a tone like nobody else is, and an approach and a sound on the instrument that I find deeply emotionally approachable and also really evocative and fun to listen to. And when it comes to how I play melodies, I think a lot about his approach to the saxophone. And then creatively, the saxophonist Mwata Bowden, who is a baritone saxophonist in Chicago, who I was lucky enough to study with when I was in high school. He's been a lifelong inspiration to me just in the way he has a certain all-encompassing approach, a creative music approach to how he plays, how he approaches being a musician and a composer at the same time, and the sort of orchestrative quality of the way he approaches playing the baritone in the context of an ensemble, as a conductor at times, as a soloist at other times, as a melodic underpinning or rhythmic underpinning at other times. I think he's really considering that approach, and he taught me a lot about understanding musicians as composers, as sidemen, as leaders, as supporters, all at the same time. And that's something I think about a lot and try to incorporate into all the music that I make every day. I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about my music in this context and for playing these songs. I know there's a lot of incredible musicians all over the world, a lot of incredible musicians in Europe, a lot of incredible musicians in France, and I'm grateful that you took the time to take a listen to what I was doing and to share it with other people. Coming down in the future, you should look out. I have a new live tape release coming out at the end of May on We Jazz Records, and a brand new full-length album coming in the beginning of 2020, probably January of 2020. I hope to be back in Europe this fall playing some more shows, and if anybody's interested in finding out more about me, you can find me on the internet, jonahpj.com, jonahpj.com, as well as on Instagram at Jonah Baritone, or basically anywhere on Google if you just search Jonah and saxophone. So thanks so much for having me, and I hope you enjoy the music.